I must say that this is not the best of time for northern political stakeholders, most especially as it's becoming very clear that the man Tinubu is going to review the constitution. Of course, we are likely going to see a brand new constitution as it stands, because all indication is pointing to that direction. Seeing that all the southwestern states are already accepting a proper overhauling of the constitution. I'll bring you up to speed with that news. I'll only bring you up to speed with the position of Tinubu himself, talking about this constitution of the country. Let us start with the one that came from, of course, southwestern states, because from what I understand, the country actually need overhauling of its constitution. That's my own position. But I think the North, that is the greater beneficiary of the current status quo, are the only people who may want to oppose any attempt to have a review of it. Because we saw in the recent time when the government wanted to address the issue of tax reform bills, how the North rose against it and how they use their number in the National Assembly to water it down. But let me bring this to your knowledge. This one, of course, is coming from the Punch newspaper, where it's saying Southwest unites in constitutional restructuring push. You go further to say that in a display of regional unity, key stakeholders from the 6 southwestern states of Nigeria gathered to make a call for a new constitution that better reflected the aspirations of Nigerians. Going forward, they said they came in their large numbers from the 4 corners of the 6 southwestern states of Nigeria. They are eminent Nigerians. They include our highly revered traditional rulers, captain of industries, and the youth groups, labor unions, various political groups, the political class in their hundreds, and several distinguished professionals, to mention but a few. He said they are all of one mission and desire: a new constitution for the country that will strengthen its growing democracy, enhance good governance, national scrutiny, and prosperity, and of course, prioritize fairness, equity, justice, irrespective of tribe and tongues. I think this is where it may not go down well with the North. Once we are talking about equity, justice, irrespective of tribe and tongue. Because I understand that currently, the North is the greater beneficiary of the current fraudulent status quo. Better see the constitution that is forced on Nigerians by the military. But let me bring you up to speed with the position of even Tinubu himself, to show you that there's light at the end of the tunnel. This one is coming from the Vanguard newspaper. He's saying Tinubu declares support for constitutional review. He go further to say that President Tinubu has restated his administration's support for constitutional reforms tailored for strengthening Nigeria's democratic institutions. He go further to say that Tinubu described the constitutional process amendment as a process of golden opportunity to entrench good governance, inclusivity, and sustainable development. But in no doubt, I must say that Nigeria deserves a brand new constitution that will engender equal opportunity for every Nigerian, that will, of course, ultimately address the imbalance we currently see in Nigerian system. I must say that it is worrisome and unacceptable a situation where you can see clearly in the North, you see 19 states. In the southern part of the country, you see 17. This was never done in any way, any system that came about through fairness, equity, and justice. We understand that it was the military that did this, I think under the administration of Abu Salami Abubakar. So what we are saying is, now that a golden opportunity is here to address this issue, I think we as a people, we must support this idea. The truth is that at some point, we need to address most of all this imbalance. Because come to think of it, how do you justify a situation where in the southeast you have only 5 states as against the 6 in other geographical zones? And when you are talking about Nigeria as a country, the three major ethnic groups, you are talking about the Yoruba, the Igbo, and the Hausa. So I must say that was not fair enough. That is why I even endorsed the push by Senator Ned Nwoko, of course, the senator representing Delta North in Nigerian Senate, who is proposing Anambra State to be carved out of Delta State, of course, the Igbo-speaking part of Delta, to be added to the 5 states in the southeastern part of the country to make it 6 states. At least, if not for anything, to balance that injustice. Then if you look at the local government composition, how come Kano is having 44 local governments? And Jigawa, that is carved out of Kano, is having 27 local governments. Put together, that is 71 local governments. I must say that is not fair enough to other part of the country. Because I myself, I have experience of the North as someone who served in Jigawa State during the youth service corps. So I know that when it comes to population, Lagos is even more populated than any other state in the country. So you begin to wonder, begin to imagine how come they have that undue advantage. It is because the undue advantage was conferred on them by the military that was using decree to create states, local governments, as the case may be. So that is why every Southerner, everybody that wants issues bordering on irregularity, bordering on lopsidedness, must support every move of the authorities of the government to address all this irregularity. Because as far as I'm concerned, when the government wanted to address this water reform bill, I supported it. Because what that bill seek to do was to actually ensure that the areas where you produce more, areas where they consume more, get adequate compensation. And in a way, that will encourage other areas to start looking inward and start thinking of what they can bring to the table. Because the more they bring, the more they take back home. But unfortunately, what the situation where the North united against that bill. And they use their number in National Assembly to expunge every area they felt were repugnant to their interests. And as you have it, the version the president signed into law is the version that was watered down by the North. And when it came to that politics, the North united, because we saw a situation where even some APC stalwarts, like the governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, who is a close ally and friend of the president, spoke vehemently against that bill. But according to them, that the bill wanted to deplete the revenue base of the North. We equally saw the likes of Kwankwaso rising heavily against the bill. We saw the likes of Senator Abuningi from Bauchi State rising vehemently against the bill. And as you have it, they succeeded in using their number in National Assembly to water it down. But what I'm saying in essence is there's every need to address some of these irregularities. I'm even of the view that even the tax reform bills, there's need to revisit it by way of amending it again. Because it doesn't matter the opinion of anybody, we must get to a point where people start getting compensated for what they bring to the table. Let me say at this point that even the 30% derivative that oil producing states enjoy is as a result of struggle of some persons. But I can remember that the 30% derivative was about 7% derivative. It was the likes of Ibori and Co. Alamisia, the then governor of Bayelsa State, Ibori, the then governor of Delta State, who stood their ground under the administration of Obasanjo and projected resource control. So the quest for resource control, the pressure of federal government for resource control necessitated the federal government jacking up the derivative to 13%. Though currently, I doubt whether any governor will have the courage to challenge federal government to start talking about resource control. But I can remember then, you may call anybody names, but what oil producing states enjoy today is as a result of the struggle by Ibori and Co. When Ibori was in the trenches pushing for resource control. So in the same vein, if an area produces more in terms of agricultural produce, in terms of maybe revenue that comes from telecommunication, in terms of production, there's every need to make that area get adequate compensation. Because that way, it will push other states to go inward and start looking at what to do to bring more revenue to the table so that what they get in return become increased. Because to have it, all the states and local governments, particularly in the north, some of them are comfortable with the money that accrues to their coffers through federation accounts. So as such, they are not bothered, they are not worried, they are not even thinking of how to even make revenue. But if you have a situation where you should know that you can only earn money until you work, I think those states will start looking inward and start looking at how to make revenue. Because my experience with Jigawa State is very make me understand the idle nature of local government system in the north. Because I have experienced that in the north, particularly in Jigawa State, as at the time of our youth service, that there is no business activities in local government secretariats. And of course, if you are posted to a local government in that state as at then, what they tell you is buy Ike, meaning there is no work. So in the local government secretariat, nobody come to work from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. They only come when the revenue comes, when the allocation comes. That's at the end of the month. Even we are able to understand that the local government chairman or chairman, let me be particular, the local government who I serve, stays in Kano State. He only show up at the end of the month when revenue or rather allocation will come. And once they share the money in terms of everybody collecting his salary, collecting his allowance, the councillors take their own, and all of that. The workers, suppose workers anyway, I call them support workers because they don't come to work on daily basis. They only come when the allocation comes. So once they take their salary and allocation, as the case may be, they all desert the local government. They wait for another round of allocation to come. So if you have a situation where people are benefiting in that regard, I want to say that when there's a move to genuinely address that imbalance, people who benefit from that fraudulent status quo will resist it with even their own blood. Because these are people who stand idle, who sit idle, who do not do anything. They wait for revenue from federal government. We understand that revenue from federal government comes from maybe Federal Revenue Service. I know the name have changed since this tax reform base. It equally comes from, of course, oil revenue, a major source. We equally have area of import tariff and all of that. But the question is, if those northern states know that you must work to earn, I think they will start looking inward to look at how they bring to the table. If you even look at this solid mineral, you begin to wonder, why are we not seeing transparency as to how much solid mineral is bringing to Nigerian coffers? How is it being managed? And people are not asking questions. Because I understand that Nigeria is rich in so many areas of natural resources, particularly solid mineral, even the rare earths that is even now used for electric vehicles, batteries, and all of that. Nigeria is quite rich in it. And we have foreign nationals who are here mining it. But why are we not seeing the revenue that accrues to federal coffers from that area of life? We only see crude. We see Federal Revenue Service. We see import tariff. But why is that area not transparent? And this is a question that people in government need to give Nigerians answer. Because what is source for the goods is equally source for the gander. If you collect revenue from the south to share for everybody, the ones that come from the north should equally go around for everybody to share. But let me say a very big thank you for that. This is so much.